Hey now, my name is Nick, this is Board Game Brawl, and it is time for the next installment in my top 100 games of all time. We are up to the top 30, we're getting closer and closer to number 1. Won't you please stick with us? And of course, there is always room for the comments from the peanut gallery of BoardGameGeek.com. Let's continue. My number 30 is Star Realms. Yes, another deck builder, and it won't be the last, I assure you. But Star Realms was very interesting because I feel like it was on Kickstarter and no one really cared much about it. There was some buzz about it, but it was still sort of just like a cult thing at that point. When the game was actually released to retail, it just blew up. I was shocked at how much attention this game got. I think it first premiered at Origins, was the first major convention. Then it was at Gen Con. I mean, it's just been huge all year long. And I think the reason for this is very simple. It's a very fast type of deck builder. There's some deck builders that are a bit bogged down and, just a longer experience. This one is fast. It's two-player mainly. There's lots of cool combos you can pull off with the cards. It's very simple to learn, but there's a lot of depth to it. You're playing these different space. You get cards that indicate these different space fleets. There's these different factions. The factions will key off different combos depending on the war of them that you play. And it just works really, really well. It's very competitive. It's very cutthroat. An experienced player will crush an inexperienced player, but who cares because it's so fast and you'll learn and get better as you go along. And really, when I had a copy when it first got off of Kickstarter for quite a while before it even hit retail, and I was just like, yeah, it's a really good game. I wonder why people aren't talking about this. And all it needed was just that little bit of boost in attention for people to just go nuts about it. So that is Star Realms, easily my number 30. And Cookin Jr. says, instead of play this, go roll a 6-sided die. Highest number wins. Go play a fun game. My number 29 is one of the newest games on this list, and I think that next year it may move up even higher. I just don't have enough plays of it in yet. But the fact that it's this high on this list so soon definitely speaks volumes. That is Arcadia Quest from Cool Mini or Not. Now, this game was super popular, but not quite as popular as some of Cool Mini or Not's other games, like Zombicide on Kickstarter. And I think that the reason for that is because a lot of people compared this unfavorably to Super Dungeon Explorer, which is a fantastic game, and people said, oh, chibi miniatures and dungeon crawling, you're just copying Super Dungeon Explorer. And I even thought that at first too, but really this is a much different experience. People say that this is sort of like one of those massively online battle arena games, and I get that feeling. It's definitely competitive and it can be very vicious at times. There's all these monsters out on the board. You play these different teams of guild members, all these different fantasy heroes in chibi form. And of course, like Cool Mini or Not always does, some of them are based off of popular culture characters. But even though there's tons of monsters out on the board, you're not working together and trying to mow through them. In fact, the monsters just kind of sit there unless you provoke them. You're trying to get these guild quests completed. And some of them involve killing monsters. Some of them involve getting different treasures around the board. Some of them are actually all of the time, some of your quest goals are to kill the other players. Take them out and you'll get a special quest reward. If you get enough quest tokens for a round, you'll be the winner of the game. And this is scenario based. In fact, there's a campaign mode that goes along with it, which is super cool and something you don't see in a lot of competitive games that aren't based off of Dungeons and Dragons directly, like Descent. So there's a lot of unique things here, awesome looking miniatures, awesome looking components in general, and a really neat idea. That's Arcadia Quest from Cool Mini or Not. But Trinity Rock says, beautiful components, very unpredictable gameplay. I had a very frustrating experience. Perhaps I was just unlucky. However, the fact that it is so dependent upon lucky dice rolls left me wanting a game with more tactics. My number 28 is Yetoh from Pandasaurus, and this is a worker placement game. But to say it's just a worker placement game would be really doing it a disservice, because when you see it all spread out on the table, you realize just how epic it is and how thematic and beautiful it is in a lot of different ways. This is a game where players take control of warring families in feudal Japan who are vying for control of Yetoh and trying to exploit the daimyo's weakness, and you're sending out representatives. Your workers, in this case, are like either samurai or ronin or assassins and ninjas who try to complete these missions for you. But in order to complete the missions, you need supplies. You need like kunai and poisons and rope and all these different things in order to successfully complete the missions. So you may be working on them for quite a while, but the rewards may be extremely beneficial when you can finally get it done, least of which just because you're going to get a lot of points for doing so. You can build structures, and I mean, there's lots of different things you can do in the game, and I do recommend playing with the infamous, I think they're called samurai cards, cards. I could just call them event cards, which just random events that could just totally throw everyone's game out of whack. But they are happening to everyone, and there's ways that you can mitigate that. If an earthquake happens, hopefully you have one of the favor token thingies that are going to prevent you from really getting jacked over by it. But at least if you do get jacked over, at least everyone is. That's just the kind of game it is. It's very deep, it's very strategic, it's very thematic, and I love it. Fantastic worker placement game. That is Yetoh from Pandasaurus Games, my number 28. However, Sweet Sweet Donut says, shopping in 17th century Japan. Experience the thrills of being a personal assistant and running errands. Prepare your shopping list and take the goods to the required buildings to earn your keep and delicious, delicious victory points. My number 27 is Dixit. Now, a lot of people say that this is the Gamerly Gamers party game, and it's easy to see why, because it's beautiful to behold, but it has, I'm not going to say it's deep and strategic, but it does force you to think outside of the box and to really analyze and have critical thinking, not about the game itself, but about the people that you're playing with. And that, to me, is the most fascinating thing about this game. If you're not familiar with it, very simply, you have a whole stack, and there's lots of different expansions that add more, but there's a whole stack of cards that have very surreal artwork on them. That's all that's on the cards is artwork on the other side. There's no text, no rules, no nothing. And you, as every round someone different is a storyteller, you say something about the card. You say a word, a phrase, a sentence, you make a sound, whatever it might be, you say that, put it face down on the table. Everyone else takes a similar type of card from their hand that they think matches whatever clue you gave as closely as possible and puts it down, shuffle them up, deal them back out face up. Now everyone that's not the storyteller votes on it, trying to find out who the real storyteller's card is. And that's where it gets interesting, because if everyone chooses the storyteller's card, the storyteller doesn't get points, everyone else does. So the storyteller can't make it too obvious, but if nobody guesses it, everybody else except for him also gets points. So you can't make it too vague. And if you draw away points from the storyteller and get people to vote for your card, you'll get points too. So there's a fascinating dynamic there. You really need to play with the same group of people. It's good to play with friends that you know can get into their heads. Such an awesome, beautiful, gorgeous game. It's so unlike anything else I have in my collection. That is Dixit from Asmodee, I believe. But Bran Wheat says, how is it possible that anyone actually likes this game? Maybe children I can understand, but any adult that can find enjoyment in this horrible mess surprises me. My number 26 is the Pathfinder Adventure card game, and there's two base sets out right now. You have the Rise of the Rune Lord set and the Skull and Shackles set. They both play exactly the same, despite what some people will tell you. There's just some different scenarios in there. And in fact, this is an expandable game. You can buy a lot of different adventure packs for both adventure paths. There is a distinction there. And those boxes are full of cards, and the base sets are full of cards, and there's allies, and there's heroes, and there's items for your heroes, and a lot of people say that this is an RPG in a box. Well, there's not a lot of role-playing in these games, but if you're the type that loves customizing your characters and just rolling a bunch of dice and going to different locations and helping each other out, this will be the game for you. If you don't have the time for a real RPG, I would encourage you to check out this game, because it gives you some of the mechanical feel of an RPG and the cooperative gameplay, but without the need for a DM and without sitting there for 6 hours. And that's kind of where I came to this game from. It was immensely popular the year it came out. It kind of has waned because this is kind of a lifestyle game in some ways if you really want to keep up with it. But even if you only get the base set, it's an incredibly fascinating exercise. It's really unique. I mean, it's compared to all the other cooperative games in my collection, it is so innovative to this day, and I really love it. I love the artwork, I love the gameplay, I love the cooperative aspect of it. If this is your speed, if you like RPGs and want to try something new, I would encourage you to check it out. That is the Pathfinder Adventure card game in its various different incarnations, my number 26. However, Board Gamer 667 says, what if Munchkin was mistaken for a serious RPG? All the math with none of the other interactions that makes RPGs fun. It was a really good gift for the power gamer in the group. I felt bad when no one wanted to play with him though. Replaced by Shadowrun Crossfire. Choose your own adventurers are less fiddly. My number 25 is Descent, and it feels silly for me to say Descent 2.0 specifically, Descent 2nd Edition, because I don't know who's still bothering with the 1st edition at this point. This has been out for a couple of years now, and I know that there's some people who are like, oh, 1st edition is much better, we don't need this crap. Those people are totally wrong. I never actually sat down and played a 1st edition game of Descent, but I've seen it played, I've seen what people say about it, I've seen the sprawling mess that it is. I have no interest in ever trying that. Descent 2.0 looks to be everything I would have ever wanted the game to be before I even knew that I wanted it, if that makes any sense whatsoever. This is, I was just talking about Pathfinder adventure card game and how it had some RPG elements, but really was its own thing and had a different type of cooperative aspect. Descent really is an RPG in a box, and it's supposed to be faster, more streamlined, and just tons of different scenarios and options, and made to be played in one relatively brief sitting. One player is the Overlord, the other players represent all the group of heroes that work together to fight against the Overlord, but unlike in Dungeons & Dragons, or in other types of games like that, where the Game Master or Dungeon Master just pretends that they don't want to kill the heroes, the Overlord is actively trying to kill the heroes in this scenario by playing different cards against them and playing traps and controlling different monsters and putting them against the heroes. And then at the end of every scenario or every mission, both the players and the Overlord can level up, which is fascinating. And it's much, much simpler than you would think. It looks like a lot in the box, but it's very fast, very streamlined, and I love it. I wish it would be higher on my list if I could actually play it with the same group and do campaign mode more often. I just can't, but I'm hoping to rectify that in the next year because it's an awesome game. Descent 2.0, I guess I'll say, is my number 25. However, Hellbound says, figurine play for children. And here it comes, the bombshell on my list that some people are going to be extremely unhappy about, some people are not going to be at all surprised about, depending, no matter how they feel about it, and that some people will be thrilled about. My number 24 is Cards Against Humanity. Now listen, I know that it's a ripoff of Apples to Apples. I know that it's an incredibly simplistic game, but here's what I also know. It has been a tremendous hit in my group. It has brought more laughs out of more people and made more new people coming to my group just feel comfortable and at home and feel like they are part of the group. This is the best icebreaker game that I have. It's one of the best gateway games that I have. And yes, that's the type of people that I game with. I game with 20 and 30 something hipsters who are into this kind of humor. You can call it juvenile humor if you want, but really if you are, and someone else in the comments said this, if you are from the internet, this is the game for you. In other words, if you're from modern culture, if you're steeped in popular culture, if you're not a religious person, if you are not a prudish person, this will be the game for you. Just a quick explanation, very simply, you have a bunch of white cards with different phrases and sayings, many of them vulgar. Someone draws a black card that has either a question or a fill-in-the-blank statement. The judge reads that card. Everyone submits a card or 2 or 3 cards in order to fulfill that statement or question. Randomize them. The judge reads them all out loud, picks the one that they like the most, gives that person a point. That's it. Very simple. Huge laughs. You have to have the right audience for it, but everyone in my group has been the right audience for it. That's why it's so high on my list. Cards Against Humanity from Cards Against Humanity, my number 24. But this is a great one. M. Rivera says, because of the subject matter, this deserves all the vilification it gets. If there was a -0 result, it would deserve it. Games like this debase and shames our great hobby and makes a mockery of what we say is great about our hobby. The designers are no friends to our hobby, nor are anyone who buys or plays it. Ultimately, this is a game designed by cowards, for cowards, to play as they can say things and laugh at things that people with any kind of values know are repugnant and vile because it's just a game. My number 23 is Paperback. Now, I kind of put this in the same camp as Star Realms, which I mentioned earlier, because it was a game that was on Kickstarter. It made some money. I mean, it was successful, but no one really talked about it too much. But then when it started to get into the hands of backers like myself, people could not stop saying enough good things about it. And that's where I'm at with it, because it is just a phenomenal deck building game. Yes, another deck building game, but this is definitely in like the top 5 of innovative and different deck builders that I have in my collection. This is Scrabble meets Dominion, but the sum is greater than its parts. You're trying to build different words by using cards that have letters in your hands and trying to jack up your score as much as possible. The higher score you can get by playing cards in a round, you can buy bigger and badder, more expensive cards, eventually going, of course, for victory point cards or other more powerful word or letter cards that can give you different special abilities. It is so interesting and fascinating and fantastic. There's so many different things that you can do and options that you have. The only problem with the game is that it is prone to analysis paralysis because you sit there and just stare at your cards, hoping to get that magical combination of letters to just have this amazing word that gets you a ton of points for the round. But it's not as big a deal in this game because everybody else is doing the same thing and everyone else is hoping, please don't don't end too soon. I need more time to think. That's how this game is. It's so cool. It's so unique. I love it. I don't even think it needs an expansion. That's how good it is. I can't wait to play it again. I want to play it right now. That is Paperback, easily my number 23. And there weren't a lot of negative ratings for this one, but I'll pick one. Slacker Smurf says, game is fun in the beginning, but really drags. Too long for a word game. I'd agree. My number 22 is Takenoko. Now, I have Giant Takenoko back here, but really, Giant Takenoko is exactly the same as normal Takenoko. And the fact is, this is one of those games where people were like, really? Did this game need a collector's edition giant version? Because even the base game of Takenoko is beautiful to behold. You are trying to tend to a bamboo garden, but you're doing it competitively with the other players, which doesn't make ton of sense, but you have these objective cards and you want to make sure that bamboo grows out in this garden in the specific way that you want it to grow. Or there's a panda running around the garden and you want to make sure that your panda, or if you have control of the panda for the round, you want him to eat the things that you want him to eat so that there's a certain structure of bamboo in his belly before he poops it out, I guess. And you're also trying to look at how the layout of the bamboo garden is and have different types of colored tiles out there. It's actually a very simple game, and for that reason, I'd say that it's a fantastic gateway game because the theme is really cute, all the figurines are beautiful and cute, and all the little bamboo and the tiles, even with the normal game, and it's just very pleasing to the eye and very engaging, simple to learn, but still strategic in its own right. I just love it, and it's been a really big hit in my group, and I think for very good reason. I get new people in here all the time. This is one of the first games I gravitate towards, even when I had the normal version, to show people because they left very impressed and wanting to play bigger and badder games. But there will always be a soft spot in my heart for Takenoko. That is my number 22. But however, Furon went on a journey with this game. Fun, cute game, could have been a bit less luck dependent. You roll the die to see if you're going to have one or more action? Come on. And objective cards, holy cow, they're impossibly random. Edit. Objective cards are broken. Edit. It's, parentheses, random. Much more annoying than cute. Arg. Last one for today, my number 21 is Thunderstone Advance. Now I actually rated this as my number 1 deck builder on my top 10 deck builders list. I hadn't played like a tremendous amount of deck builders at that point, and you will find more deck builders ahead of this one on this list if I can give a slight spoiler. That's not because I think that Thunderstone Advance is like worse than when I reviewed it at that time. The problem with Thunderstone Advance is that it's a bit long. That's the one reason why I can't get it to the table as much as a lot of other deck builders in my collection. But don't let that make you think that I don't like it less. In fact, this is a phenomenal game, and if I could play it more, it would be higher. That's because, unlike a lot of deck builders that I have and enjoy, this is incredibly thematic. You are trying to field a team of adventurers going down into a dungeon and trying to kill monsters for, of course, victory points. But before you do that, you're going to need to go to town. You go to town and you equip. You get items, you get more adventurers, you might even have your adventurers rest and level up and get stronger, learn new techniques. You get the help of villagers, you get magic spells. This is deck building D&D, much more so than even Pathfinder adventure card game, hence the reason this is higher on my list. It's wonderful, there's fantastic combos, it's deep, strategic, it's heavy. I highly recommend playing Epic Thunderstone. You should look it up online. It's a much better way to play, but any way that you play it, it's a great, great game, and I do love it. There's so much content out there now, I can't even tell you where to begin, but any of the advanced sets are where you should start. I never played the normal Thunderstone, but Thunderstone Advance, fantastic game, and I highly recommend it if you've played other deck builders and want to move on to something meatier and just more epic. This is the way to go. However, Stan Minson says, this is one of those games where I actually think there's something wrong with you if you like it. Played twice and never again. Well, we are finally up to the top 20, and I am so excited I'm having heart palpitations. In fact, I can't even feel the left side of my body. I should probably go and see a doctor, but if I survive, you should definitely come back and check it out because we are getting to the cream of the crop. I love every game that's on this list, but these especially so. They are fantastic games I would play at any time if you asked me to, and every gamer should check them out. Stick with us, it's getting good. Take care.